Good evening and namaskar everybody.
Oh, namaskar, namaskar.
Yes, good evening, sir. Good evening, Chati, sir.
Oh,
Very good evening, sir. Chani, sir, namaskar.
Namaskar, TBR sahib.
So now you have got a lot of great experiences to share with all our air warriors, sir. Starting from first sortie of 71 war, that is, I think it was on 4th or 5th. I think it was on 5th.
It was on the 4th morning actually. The 4th morning, the first sortie was a narrow escape for me. If you remember that.
Yeah, you are telling.
What I remember, I tell you now that I was lining up behind my leader and started rolling along with the leader. A 3-second takeoff, which is approximately 25 yards behind the leader. And once he rolled first and gathering, I was speed about 100 knots, and he was also there. And I saw a gnat getting airborne, a clean gnat. And that means that is the time I anticipated and kicked my left rudder, and I knew that this was a scramble from other end of dumbbell 1901. Okay, that is the runway direction.
Okay.
So I shifted to the center, and immediately as I shifted there, I saw another gnat coming up on the right wing tip, and that was Muthukumar, my postman. So
okay.
After rolling down, then we somehow struggled to get airborne, and we carried on, and then we saw initial point of Madhavpur Bridge after takeoff, and we go to Madhavpur towards Riyasi. En route, going towards Udhampur, I saw an helicopter and then after that further we went up, and then I saw a single hunter crossing below me. It happens in a very short time, fraction of a second, and then there was no RT contact. I was just positioned myself to the right of the leader, and I waggled wing. I said there's no point carrying on like this, just short of the IP. That was the place named Pindigate. So Pindigate came back from there. Now after that the leader told me to plan the strike straight to Miyawali and back, not going via Pindigate. So I did the planning of that. In between there was other strikes had gone and come back. In the evening, myself and my leader Squad Leader Jain again we got airborne, and we went to again. From there crossed the Jhelum river, and that is the time aircraft we were fired at by the ACAX at Jhelum.
Okay.
And I just cleaned up that is what is called, I fired on a moving bus, I remember, to see where the guns are loaded or not, and then carried on along with the leader on the left. So as soon as we are nearing, there was no IPS. I had gone directly into the attack pattern. The leader called up target at 12 o'clock, and then he saw the ACAC. I saw the ACAC gun firing, sort of a open space only.
Okay.
That's how I think the leader had spotted.
Okay, sir.
And we were low, of course. And then I saw the leader going into the dive, fired one pass, and he pushed off towards the north.
Okay.
That was a getaway mode.
Sir.
I followed behind him and dived the aircraft onto a sort of a black-looking, maybe a C-130 or some whatever the aircraft was. I fired it.
Sir.
After the attack was over, I pulled out, went straight low, and I had lost contact with the leader in the haze because it was the dusk time in the evening.
Okay.
I didn't see him. So
Okay.
I followed the course to head back. That is about say 090.
Sir.
As after some time, I could not see anybody chasing me, or I couldn't see the leader also. But I could feel that the aircraft is not responding to and I was hit. And the aircraft, in fact, pitched up.
Okay.
And as it pitched up, I had no way of controlling, so I called up. I'm hit. I'm ejecting.
Okay.
After I came down. I don't remember the descent part of it.
Sir.
And once I was lying on the ground, I saw a lot of people rushing towards me. And in fact, one young boy fired at me with some small caliber rifle or something.
Oh, okay.
And then that hit me on the right rib, actually.
Okay.
And then they grabbed my shoes, were pulled out, hands were pulled out, and I think I had carried some money in the pocket.
Okay.
That was also
taken taken away.
One old man came after some time and said, "Marna nahi." And
Okay.
that
Did you get
was
hurt, sir? Did you get
Sorry?
hurt by the bullet?
I was lying low because the back was aching actually because there is an ejection. That more this once you get eject thrown out, you do get the jerk, and there was a sort of pain in the back. So I was lying down, and the parachute was lying around there only.
Okay.
And I was then grabbed and taken into a small little sort of where the animals are, all their cattle, etc., are tied up and kept.
Sir.
And then I was tied to the cot.
Okay.
That is what I remember.
Sir.
I was lying around, and after some time, a lot of movement around me on the. Then I remember one guy, Pakistan Air Force person only, came, must be. He was in that uniform.
Sir.
Came and tried to talk to me, and I spent the whole night like that in that cow shed or something, whatever you can call it.
Okay.
Animal
shed, animal farm. Okay.
On the cot.
Okay.
And same cot actually was lifted by these people and taken to a place which I didn't know that time what it was, but it was sort of an when I remember it now, that was a hilly area, and the major one probably that was a radar station, forgetting the name of that. It's a big radar station from the Pakistan side, and I was then taken to the one of the office, I think maybe the commandant's office is out there, commander's office. And he appeared to be a very nice, healthy, sort of a foreigner. Maybe all the Pathans, that time they are all quite healthy and very fair looking and very smart looking people.
Sir.
After some time, some people came from, the pilots also came to have a look at me.
Okay.
They asked me some questions and all, have you been abroad for training and this and that?
Sir.
Then I answered them, I have not been abroad or something. And then I was put in a jeep and driven overnight to Rawalpindi.
Okay.
That was quite a painful journey because the back was hurting. So I was lying on the rear seat of a jeep, escorted by the Pakistan Air Force cops.
Okay.
And I think it was the Rawalpindi jail, civil jail. The next morning, I saw one very respectful Pathan ka suit or some very old man coming and looking at me. Before that, I saw another pilot of our Air Force guy was holding on. They were two Johnnies were holding on to him with his arms around their shoulders. He was unable to, and that was actually Squadron Leader Jaffa.
Okay.
I had not met him earlier anywhere in in Halwara or wherever I was in Pathankot, anywhere. And from there, after spending few days in the jail, we were then sent back to the Pakistan Air Force PoW flight. All locked up in the jail, and some interrogation was there in the sense of name, number, and all that, and how you come and route. I said,
the interrogation.
It was not much of an interrogation actually. I was not no harassment as such.
Okay, that's good, sir.
After that, this went on for some time, and on the 16th of December, I think, Tejwan Singh was shot up, and he came out of winning the war.
Sir.
And all these days were quite cold actually, winters and all. We were allowed thereafter moved into a sort of a open area in that PoW flight.
Yeah.
And used to sit in the sun the whole day. When the food used to come from one of the mess.
Okay.
And then evening sunset time, about half an hour before, we used to be back to the cells.
So who are all your inmates, sir, initially? Apart from Scholar Jaffa, sir?
My roommate was Kuruvilla initially.
Oh, acha, great.
And we spent some time, about I think 5-6 days together in the same room. One day I heard the one loud laughter.
Okay.
And that I know that this is Dilip Parulkar, because he has a peculiar way of laughing. He laughed nicely, and we were discussing something with the police cop of the Air Force. So all this went on, and then after a few days, we started discussing about repatriation and all that. I said, we have won the war now, we should be going back soon.
So what was the exact message given by our recovered Tejwan Singh, sir, when he came on 16th? I think he briefed you about...
We have won the war, the ceasefire and all is there.
Okay.
So that was the message actually. I don't remember now details, nearly 50 years back. So, but we have won the war, he said.
Achha, by the time you knew that we won the war. Good.
Yeah. In between, there are usual threats and all were there. Pakistan side to us, anybody walking in, you will be written off and all that. And all these threats continue.
Okay.
Up to June, this sort of life was continuing. So Dilip was getting a little, Dilip sir was getting a little impatient, and in our common room number 5, we discussed about this. And since I used to go for this one odd time or twice, I have been to the hospital, Chaklala Air Force Station. Once for the tooth. The front tooth was actually damaged in playing squash in Halwara. I was hit by.
So you were so fond of squash plays even before the war.
Yeah, that time that was earlier than the war. Before it happened in Halwara. By playing with late Pradeep Apte, he was my coachmate and my roommate. I was hit on the front tooth and it had become black. So by the time it deteriorated, it was during the war that I had to go to the dental center in Pakistan to pull it out. For the dentist to pull it out.
Okay.
And that is the time when he was pulling the tooth out, we have won the war and all that he used to say. And it was
so how did you feel, sir, when you knew that we had won the war? What was the feeling among all the POW, sir?
Obviously, we were rejoicing that time. That was done in the open air. That wall, this thing, what was called as the open courtyard. It's a courtyard. Actually.
Courtyard, yes, sir.
The courtyard. So we rejoiced on the day that when Tejwant had come to the provost flight, and we had a meeting. So thereafter this during our meetings in the room number 5, the common room, 4 of us had got together there, and this plan was going on for escaping.
Okay.
And I had suggested that the wall should be dug up under the.
Was it your idea, sir, by digging a tunnel part?
I suggested this.
That's great.
Since I had gone twice to the hospital.
Okay.
And I knew there was a mall road, that the Peshawar highway was called the mall. And one side was going towards Rawalpindi, other side was going towards Islamabad and Peshawar.
Okay.
So, and en route, I had seen the bus stop. So I said, this is the way to get out of the mall from here, and we are next to the Pakistan Air Force Information Center.
Okay.
And there was a petrol bunk there, and you jump the wall and you are on the mall.
Great.
Carry on going straight, and after about 2-3 kilometers, there is a cricket ground on the right and the cricket stadium, Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium.
Close by.
Because while going to the hospital now, we had passed about nearly the month of July or so is coming. So we were not blindfolded that time.
Okay.
So that plan, everybody started now working on it, including Kamisa. He was a genius in designing a compass or by a needle and making it rotate 180 degrees. That was stored in a pen, in fact.
Okay.
Then one tailor had stitched Pathan suit for Dilip, and it was brought to him by Aurangzeb. There's another, like we have Laskars, they also have this arrangement for looking after serving tea or something like that, or buying some snacks or something in the evening. Like we used to get what is called as chappal kebab.
Chappal?
It was one of the best kebabs I ever ate. Lovely meat.
Okay.
And a couple of them used to buy, depending on the financial position. By the time passed on, our Pakistani currency had devalued.
Okay.
Because some 9 rupees, our pay had suddenly gone up to 150 rupees.
My God.
So that money came in handy during the escape time. So we all contributed, and every day this plan was going on. Now, when the digging started, I used to play the transistor, which was there lying down the ground. I could hear the cricket commentary of Pakistan versus England test matches. That used to start in the evening, 3:30 of afternoon onwards till about 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Digging used to begin somewhere around plus 11 o'clock or so.
11 o'clock in the night, sir?
The volume.
11 o'clock in the night?
Yeah. Everything was digging all over the night.
Okay.
And ICRC parcels were there, which had come with the Red Cross. They were in one of the number 1 cell.
Okay.
So we used to bring those Red Cross parcels in our room.
Sir.
And as and when required, telling the Pakistan Air Force police personnel that we want to take the parcel from there.
Okay.
That was stored under Dilip Parulkar's cot, empty boxes.
Okay.
Which came handy to whatever the masala used to come out on the wall. You know, all the cement and bricks.
Okay.
Whatever the thing is called, that used to be stored in these boxes. Myself and Harry, that is Hari Sinji, we used to keep a watch on the guards. The words like bogey, all these were used in case the guard is coming closer. We used to say bogey, so and so, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that.
Okay.
So that means that the guard is coming, stop digging. And Kami sir had given this idea of putting a coin on top of the bulb and putting it in the holder.
Who is Kami sir?
The guy switches on the light.
Who is Kami sir? Full name?
Kamath.
Okay.
I'll just read out the names of the people.
Sir.
Wing Commander B.A. Koilo, he was there. Then Squadron Leader D.S. Jaffa, he was ADC to the Chief of Air Staff, P.C. Lal.
Yes, sir.
Air Chief Marshal P.C. Lal.
Sir.
Squadron Leader A.V. Kamath.
Yes, sir.
Flight Lieutenant Bhargava, Jawaharlal Bhargava.
Jawaharlal Bhargava, Air Commander Bhargava, sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
Then Flight Lieutenant Tejwan Singh.
Sir. Flight
Lieutenant D.J. Parulkar.
Yes, sir.
Flight Lieutenant Garewal.
Sir.
Flight Lieutenant Hari Sinji.
Yes, sir.
Flight Lieutenant Vikram Petia.
Yes, sir.
Myself, Flying Officer Chati, 25, at the age of 25.
Sir.
Flying Officer Kuruvila.
Sir.
And Flying Officer HND Mullah Feroz.
Sir.
Now, out of these, Flight Lieutenant Petia and Mullah Feroz were already repatriated. So, out of the 12, 10 were left behind.
Mullah Feroz and Petia, sir.
Vikram Petia.
Why were they repatriated because of injuries?
Because of Petia was suspected of some infection to his lungs, and Mullah was left hand was biceps were totally, it was blown off. The gun had fired, and the Pakistan Ranger had shot him.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
That was the border. He was lucky to have got it on the arm.
Sir.
Unfortunately, Mullah is no more now. He had a heart attack about 4-5 years back.
Okay.
I'm not too sure about Wing Commander Bani Koilo now, or AVM Koilo, I think. I'm not too sure. Jafar sir is no more.
Okay.
Kamath sir is no more.
Okay.
Hari Sinji is no more. He had dropsy, I heard, some sort of a peculiar disease. So he died of that.
Okay. So we are now fortunate to interact with the remaining all the our Air Commander Kuruvilla sir. He spoke a lot on this aspect, and Air Commander Bhargava sir. Of course, we did interact with our Wing Commander Grewal sir, one of the great heroes of escape, and also Group Captain Parulkar sir. They were so kind enough to come and meet us all and bless us all during that 31st October program. So we missed only AVM Petia sir, Vikram Petia sir, and another person is Tejwan Singh sir. Otherwise, remaining all the, of course, Kuruvilla sir did not make it, but we had a wonderful call with him, and we feel really blessed to have them in our webinars and meetings and interactions with them. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, sir, you can continue.
Okay. Now, the digging part of it was continuing, and in fact, it carried on for more than a month.
So more than 1 month.
There was tension building up daytime. Okay. When it will be discovered. So the guy, a sweeper is come in the morning. Gary used to go and make it a point to have his breakfast sitting on the cot in the morning time.
So okay.
So that guy set off a tension, and people were getting uneasy. A lot of plans were alteration of plan, this and that, whatever and also in the side by side equipping with some sort of routes, etc. was going on, etc. Where my G suit only was lying in the storeroom. So out of the G suit, they made a water bag made by Kamath sir. Actually, he was fantastic with stitching and all that. Making compass, magnetizing the needle and making into a compass. A great technician.
Okay, so a lot of creativity under work.
Yes.
So now, who are all the people actually involved in digging, sir? All the
Parulkar and Garewal they were the only two who were getting under the cot, because he had to be under the cot and digging. Now, one of the most funny incident I remember during that, process is one hole was made in the plaster. Outer plaster was very strong. Now Gary was trying to hit it with the cricket bat. So somehow one small hole by about 1 inch by 1 inch was made accidentally.
Okay.
So how to cover it now? So we shove one cloth in that hole.
Acha.
One night when he was digging, the cloth started going out.
Okay.
Gary yelled out, "Hey, there is something happening. The bloody cloth is being pulled from other side of the wall." And then went through and he saw two eyes were shining.
Okay.
And then when he went closer, there was a cat. You notice the cat was pulling this cloth. That created a little bit of suspense. So that is one of the incident which you can't remember.
Okay.
Now on the 12th night,
Sir.
or 13th night actually,
Sir.
14th night is the Pakistan Independence Day. 15th August is our Independence Day.
Sir.
Luckily, this plaster, after hitting by the cricket bat, it fell off.
Okay.
That plaster took almost more than half the time of
Okay.
digging.
My God.
We literally scrape it with the spoons and whatever we had in our nails, etc. A big nail which was picked up from the volleyball court. And on the 14th night, or 13th night actually, yes, because next day is a holiday for Pakistan Air Force. So that fell off. There was no such date fixed for an escape. You cannot fix it because you can't get through. That happened to me accidentally. So 14th night,
Sir.
and they got dressed up, and plan was to leave me behind. I forgot to mention about it, but it was a plan because somebody had to be there to give cover, because if the guard comes and finds no movement or anything, so I stayed there. Now these people one by one got out of the two by one hole and walked the other side of the wall, and in between there was sort of fencing, and they walked along the fencing and went towards the wall. Once they had got out of the room, I got up and started making their dummies of whatever was in hand, the blankets, the pillows, their clothes, shoes, whatever they left. All the three dummies were, and we were on the floor. Myself and Hari Singh. And Dilip used to be on the cot. And next to me was Gary Grewal. So those dummies were there, and then I started looking out for any movement towards the cell. But also, luckily, one small little thunderstorm came.
Okay.
And but that was maybe just about 20 minutes or so.
Okay.
I carried on like that the whole night. Actually, I had to keep awake.
Sir.
In between, the guard came. I woke up and said Salam Alaikum or something like that, and make some light conversation with him.
Acha.
And again went back to sleep, pretending as if there is nothing in there. In fact, I wanted to go for the loo.
Okay.
Because the whole night was there. There is tension on board, and though I let go in the corner.
I think you must have undergone lot of lot of pressure, sir.
There is tension in the head, of course. So I let go. I eased myself out in the corner. And then the next day morning, when the guard came, sir, this is there is a fragrance of brandy or something like that. You remember? Calling out.
Okay.
So the brandy ka milta is waqt yahan. Anyway, once he opened the gate, sir, it was a barbed, steel rods, the gates are there. He opened, I walked out, he closed the gate, and then next to was the toilet was next to Java Sir's room. Okay. En route, while going to the toilet, which was just next to him, I told Jafar, sir, they're gone. I came out of the toilet and went to Jafar sir's room. So since it was the 4th Pakistan Independence Day, there was sort of a holiday mood in the camp. Okay. I sat in Jafar sir's room till the breakfast arrived. Sir. And nobody was suspecting that these guys had escaped. Okay. So 7 of us had the breakfast, and then while coming out, made a comment like that, "Sona hai to sone do, independent Pakistan kal apna Independence Day, sone do." This kind of discussion was going on. Then I went to Kamach and Kuruvila's room. Okay. And sat with them. Okay. Suddenly some call has come, and that was nearly 9 o'clock in the morning. Sir. And then the whole hell broke loose. They were running around inside. Sir. And then we all were separated. I got the maximum of it. I was also put in a dark room.
Okay.
Then there was an inquiry after one odd day with the CADO of the Chaklala Air Base came and made an inquiry. Your discipline is very bad. That inquiry was over. There was tension in the camp. All of us were sort of separated from each other. No more getting out in the courtyard.
Sir.
One day one bus came next to the gate, the main gate, entering the guard room. And then we were all blindfolded and transported.
Okay.
And then by the sense of the direction that the bus is going east, I think we are going to Delhi.
Okay.
Actually, then the bus was on the Lahore route, and we were going to Lialpur. But that's where the army POWs were locked up.
Okay.
That took almost nearly 10 hours of maybe 8.